So it was saying 105 when I walked in. Now it's 103.8. That's so nice of it to drop temperature. I'm not staying over here long. I got sick this weekend. I got some sort of cold. Felt like crap, still feeling like crap. I'm definitely better, but I don't want to be over here in the heat for too long. But thought I'd give you guys an update on the 8.6. So engine bay is painted. This duplicolor rust barrier paint is absolutely fantastic. That's one coat of paint. It came out fantastic, and it also stops rust. So it keeps it from spreading, keeps it from starting. Definitely worth the money. Even though it is $16 a can, it's absolutely worth it when you can get one coat of paint and still have plenty of leftover in the container. So engine bay is painted. We're pretty much ready for the engine to go in. I was going to put the engine in this weekend, and then things went sideways. The 20 valve, I pulled the timing apart, pulled the valve cover off, pulled the oil pan, pulled the oil pump. Well, when I pulled the oil pan, you know, obviously this motor had been drained when it came over from Japan, and it sat around for a while. Saw some metal flakes in the bottom, was like, uh-oh, that's not good. Let's go ahead and check everything out. Started pulling mains and rod caps, looking at everything, and found some bearings that looked pretty rough. They weren't like horrible, but I was like, nah, they're not my favorite, so these definitely need to probably be replaced. And then number 2 rod bearing showed me some really nasty like chunks out of it. And fortunately for me, there are no marring on the crank or journals. Everything is in good shape, so the bearings took the abuse like they needed to. So I went and got plastic gauge. It took me 3 part stores to find plastic gauge. I guess it's just not stuff that you find anymore or that people use. I don't know. I'm shocked. It took me 3 part stores, but the AutoZone on the far end of town ended up having it. So if you're not familiar with this is, think of like almost like a wax filament that's the size of pencil lead. And then you see all your different marks here. You've got it in millimeters or in inches, either side. And so what you do is you snip off a chunk, you set it between your bearing and your crankshaft, and you squish it. Whenever you tighten everything down back to the factory torque, it squishes out, and that'll tell you your clearance. So when you pull it back off, it's squished on your crankshaft. Then you just take the little measurements, go across. Okay, I know where I am. And that'll tell you, are you in factory tolerances or not? Fortunately for me, on the roughest of the bearings, it was in spec. So I'm good to go. I measured my bearing thickness. It's all standard sizes. So ordered fresh bearings from Battle Garage RS. I've got new rods, mains, and thrust bearings on the way. So it's fixing to get fresh bearings, and then we'll start going back together with it. I am so glad that I checked, because I can tell you right now, after looking at that number 2 rod bearing, it wouldn't have lasted past the dyno session, and this motor would have let go. And I would have been absolutely devastated to have spent this much money and this much effort on this car just for that to happen. Not to mention it would have been a waste of time for Forrest, obviously, to start tuning on it and book him up just to, you know, spin a bearing or worse. So took the precautions, measured everything out, got bearings on the way. So it delayed it. I wanted to put the motor and transmission in the car like early this week or over the weekend. Not gonna happen. So I'm taking the week off while I'm not feeling that great and kind of just letting myself rest somewhat. I don't rest much, you know me. If you guys that are close with me know, I don't hold still for anything. I'm always on the go, and I'm always working. I'm always in here. So I'm gonna put the motor and transmission in the car by hopefully the middle to end of next week and go from there. Doors are on. These are the GTS doors that I got out of Texas that don't have any rust. They're in pretty good shape. And because the original doors had rust on them. The super rear end is apart, the Mark 1 Super axle. So there's your 373 open diff, and then there's your axle shafts. The housing is outside. Everything looks good. Had to slide hammer, of course, the axle's out of it. So I'll have to pull the bearings out, clean everything up, wire wheel it, paint it. But everything looks good inside of it, which is a big relief. The Mark II Supra IRS diff that I pulled out of the crusty blue car is out. It is a 4.3 LSD, which is exactly what I was looking for. So essentially what I'm building is, instead of a 6.7 ring gear LSD from like a GTS, which is what would have come in this car with the 4.3s, I'm actually doing a 7.5 ring gear. So a much stronger rear end in this car that I won't have any issues out of, but built basically in the same gear ratio as a GTS with the LSD. Hopefully I can get a hold of Weir Performance. I've tried for the past 8 weeks to touch base, a couple emails, a couple phone calls, trying to be patient. I know it's a small business, but I'm kind of getting a little stressed out because I've got to get the clutch pack and the bearings on the way to rebuild everything and get it ready to go in the car, because time is not on my side with getting this car from this condition to painted, running, driving, livery, tuned, TougeCon by September 5th and 6th. Yeah, it's been a ride, but I will also add some clips in here of beating the fire out of the brakes, getting the seized calipers, rotors, and everything off that super axle. You should see the pile, and you will. You'll see the pile of dirt that come off of that rear end that just took forever to get it unseized. But luckily, once I beat the calipers off, everything spun, so that definitely relieved me, because I was worried, man, with that car sitting there for like 20, probably over 30 years in the axle on the dirt, you know, no rear wheels, just sitting on the dirt. I'm like, dude, if this thing's got water in it, everything's gonna be toast. But fortunately for me, everything looked good. The oil was still in there, so yeah, it is wicked hot, guys. I gotta get back off of here, but I will show you one more thing while I'm here. I got something cool. Found this smoking deal. Set of Koki lights for the 8.6. Got the center garnish and both sides. Get rid of these ugly things that are cracked, the originals, and putting the Kokis on there. So fortunately, I found those at a really good deal. I've got to stop spending so much money on this stupid car. I've gone overboard. Obviously, I've got a Monsoon. I've got the panic harness with the tweaked engine harness, the ITB Piper Cross, filter setup, timing belt. I've got everything. So I don't think I have to buy much more things for this. I don't have to buy many more things for this car. Sorry, you're gonna have to forgive me. My brain is foggy right now. It's like I said, it's like 104 in the shop. So with that being said, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna go to the house and rest. But guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see if I get it done. See ya.